The sun always seemed to shine a little brighter on Maple Creek Lane. It was the kind of street where neighbors waved from manicured lawns. Children's laughter often echoed from backyard swing sets. Here, Jacob and Lily Mason had built what looked like a perfect life. Jacob, with his easy smile and confident charm, was a local contractor. He was known for his firm handshake and his promises of quality work. People in their small town of Harmony Glade trusted him. He seemed like the kind of man who could fix anything, build anything, make anything right. Lily was the heart of their home, a vibrant artist whose paintings filled their cozy two-story house with color and warmth. She taught art classes at the community center. Her gentle nature and infectious enthusiasm drew people to her. They had met in college, a whirlwind romance that blossomed into what she believed was a deep, enduring love. Carla, Lily's younger sister, was a frequent visitor to their home. She was a pragmatic accountant, often the more grounded of the two sisters, yet she deeply admired Lily's free spirit. Carla saw Jacob as a good husband to her sister, perhaps a little too ambitious at times, but seemingly devoted. Friends often remarked on how well-suited Jacob and Lily were. No one suspected the carefully constructed facade was beginning to show tiny, almost invisible cracks. Behind Jacob Mason's confident smile, a storm of anxiety was brewing. His contracting business, once a source of pride, was faltering. Several ambitious projects had gone over budget, and a few disgruntled clients were threatening legal action. The bills were piling up, relentless and unforgiving. He had taken out high-interest loans hoping for a quick turnaround, but success remained elusive. The weight of his financial failures pressed down on him, a suffocating burden he kept hidden from Lily. Lily, ever trusting, noticed his increasing preoccupation but attributed it to work stress. She would try to comfort him, offering soothing words and her unwavering support. "We'll get through it, Jake," she'd say, her eyes full of love. Her innocence, her blind faith in him only seemed to deepen Jacob's internal turmoil. It was during these desperate, sleepless nights that a dark thought began to take root in Jacob's mind. Lily had a substantial life insurance policy. Now, to Jacob, it started to look less like a safety net and more like a lifeline, a way out of his financial abyss. The idea of the life insurance money, once a fleeting, shameful thought, began to consume Jacob. He started researching. He looked into the specifics of Lily's policy, the payout conditions, the claim process. Each click of the mouse, each late-night search, pulled him further into the darkness. He told himself it was the only way to clear his debts, to save his reputation, to start over. His plan needed to be flawless, an accident that no one would question. He considered various scenarios, each more chilling than the last. He needed it to look tragic, unavoidable. He began to meticulously plan the details, his mind a cold, calculating machine. He observed Lily's routines, her habits, searching for an opportunity. The man who once promised to protect her was now plotting her demise with chilling precision. He was a predator stalking his prey, and his prey was the woman who trusted him implicitly. The evening Jacob chose was overcast and damp, a light drizzle beginning to fall as dusk settled. He suggested a drive, a spontaneous trip to a viewpoint he claimed a client had recommended, promising a spectacular view of the city lights. Lily, always eager for an adventure with him, readily agreed. She was in good spirits, humming along to the radio, unaware of the cold dread that filled the car alongside her husband's feigned affection. As they navigated the winding, poorly lit country road he had selected, Jacob's demeanor grew tense. He feigned frustration with the worsening weather. "These brakes feel a little soft," he remarked casually, a carefully planted seed for his later narrative. Then, at a sharp, unlit curve with a steep embankment on one side, Jacob made his move. He later claimed he swerved to avoid a deer, a classic, unverifiable excuse. The car careened off the road, the manipulated brakes failing to offer any real resistance. Lily's scream was cut short by the violent impact as the car tumbled down the embankment. Jacob had rehearsed this moment. He unbuckled himself, sustained a few calculated minor injuries, A cut on his forehead, a bruised shoulder, enough to make his story credible. Section 5. A sister's grief, a widower's comfort. News of Lily's death shattered Carla. The bond she shared with her sister was profound, a cornerstone of her life. The call came in the dead of night, Jacob's voice broken and tearful, delivering the devastating news. Carla rushed to the hospital, her mind reeling, unable to process the reality that her vibrant, joyful sister was gone. She found Jacob distraught, seemingly inconsolable. In that moment, all she felt was a shared, overwhelming grief. She clung to Jacob, the only other person who could possibly understand the depth of her loss. In the days and weeks that followed, Jacob leaned heavily on Carla for support, and she, in turn, found a strange solace in his presence. He was a living link to Lily, a repository of shared memories. He spoke endlessly of Lily, of their love, of his unbearable pain. Carla, consumed by her own mourning, saw only a grieving widower. She helped with the funeral arrangements, sorted through Lily's belongings, each item a fresh stab of pain. Jacob was there, always there, his arm around her shoulder, offering a tissue, a quiet word of comfort. He seemed to need her, and she, in her desolation, needed to be needed. Slowly, subtly, the dynamic between Jacob and Carla began to shift. Shared grief morphed into a different kind of intimacy. Section 6. Whispers in the shadows, unsettling questions. While Carla was finding a complicated comfort in Jacob's presence, a few unsettling details about the accident began to surface, like small, sharp stones beneath a smooth surface. The initial police report had deemed it a tragic but straightforward event. However, one seasoned detective, a man named Miles Corbin, who had seen his share of heartbreak and deceit, felt a nagging unease. It was nothing specific at first, just a gut feeling, an intuition honed by years of investigating human tragedy. He decided to take a closer look, to revisit the file, to ask a few more questions, quietly, discreetly. Detective Corbin started with the car. The initial assessment had noted brake issues, consistent with Jacob's story, but a more thorough forensic examination, ordered by Corbin, revealed something more troubling. The damage to the brake lines seemed more deliberate than accidental. Section 7. The detective's gaze. Unraveling the deceit. Detective Corbin was methodical. He delved into Jacob Mason's life with a quiet intensity. He discovered the failing contracting business, the mounting debts, the desperate loans. A clear motive was beginning to emerge: financial desperation. The life insurance policy on Lily, once a symbol of prudent planning, now looked like a potential solution to Jacob's overwhelming problems. Corbin interviewed Jacob again, noting his carefully rehearsed answers, his overly emotional yet somehow hollow expressions of grief. The detective's skepticism grew with each carefully chosen word Jacob uttered. He sensed the performance, the act. The investigation then turned to Jacob's relationship with Carla. Section 8. The courtroom's cold light, truth revealed. The evidence compiled by Detective Corbin and his team was compelling enough for an arrest. Jacob Mason was charged with the murder of his wife, Lily. The news sent shockwaves through Harmony Glade and devastated Lily's family, especially Carla. The trial was a media sensation, the courtroom packed daily with townspeople, reporters, and the heartbroken families. Jacob maintained his innocence, his defense team arguing it was a tragic accident. Their client a victim of circumstance and a biased investigation. The prosecution laid out its case meticulously. They presented the forensic evidence of brake tampering, the details of Jacob's dire financial situation, and the timing of the life insurance policy. Witnesses testified to Jacob's strange behavior after Lily's death, his quick recovery from grief, and his rapidly developing relationship with Carla. The most heart-wrenching testimony came from Lily's parents, their voices thick with sorrow as they spoke of their daughter's love for Jacob and their own dawning, horrifying suspicions. Carla, too, was called to the stand, her testimony painting a painful picture of manipulation and emotional exploitation. Section 9. Echoes of betrayal, a family shattered. The conviction of Jacob Mason brought a grim closure, but the echoes of his betrayal resonated long after the courtroom doors closed. For Carla, the journey was particularly agonizing. She had not only lost her beloved sister but had also been cruelly manipulated by her killer. The trust she had placed in Jacob, the comfort she had sought in him during her darkest hours, was now a source of profound shame and self-reproach. Healing would be a long and arduous process, requiring her to rebuild her understanding of trust, of love, and of her own judgment. The memory of Lily was now forever intertwined with the horror of Jacob's actions. Lily's parents faced an unbearable reality. Their daughter, so full of life and love, had been stolen from them by the man she had chosen as her husband, the man they had welcomed into their family. The happy memories of Lily were now tinged with the bitter knowledge of Jacob's deceit.